Tony, how do estate agents get more free valuations? Talk to me.
There's probably three of the most effective ways, and it's interesting. So many of my clients miss this. For me, the obvious one. There was a study done quite a few years ago by an agent and they're based in North London, and from the top of my head, the figures were about 78% of their clients who were looking to buy were already renting in one of their areas. But until they did a deal with that customer and then they did the reference, that's when they got landlord's details. But you're only doing a deal with a percentage of the inquiries you get. So what I said to them, and now all my clients, is maximise that opportunity. So every time you are, and I don't like the word, but registering a buyer or a potential tenant, and they are renting in your area, you need to create a pitch to get the landlord's details. It's got to be GDPR, legal, shall we say. But that's what I talk about in my training. And then you get those landlord's details, and you're getting them before hopefully any other agent phones them, because that landlord's about to lose their tenant, and no landlord likes a vacant property. They potentially have other properties, and they also might be wanting to sell that or other properties.
Don't give it all away, but give me something. How would that conversation start? You've got to give me something.
I'll give you a snippet. So when you're qualifying them at the end of the call, so let's say they're renting in your area.
This is a tenant ringing you up.
Tenant ringing them up saying, I'm looking to buy. They qualify, they take down the whole journey, and at the end they say, they book the viewing, and they say to you, say, look, Chris, the market, actually no, let's change it, if I will. It's a tenant ringing you up who's looking to rent again, yes? And you say, and I can do both, and you say, you book the viewing, you say, look, Chris, the lettings market is moving very fast. I'm sure you know that. We get property on and off our books sometimes in a day. So you mentioned you're renting in X area. I need to have a very quick chat with your landlord just to make sure you've been a good tenant. Can I have their details, please? So now there's three outcomes. One is I don't know them. It's managed by whoever. Two is I've not served notice, so I'd rather not. And then it's your job to stay on top of them. But three is you get the details, and then you have to say there's something called GDPR, so I need their permission. Please can you speak to your landlord and actually give us permission to phone, get the number, and you make the phone call.
And I suppose you're not going to win them all.
Of course not, but if you win 10%, it's 10% more than you currently get.
Indeed. Indeed.
So that's probably the most effective way right now, and my clients now do it, but are they doing it consistently? Don't know.
Okay, so that's the first. What's the second?
The second is about winning ones you've already lost, believe it or not. So
So the first one was lettings. Now we're back to estate agency now.
Yeah, and to be honest, the same one works in estate agency. So if you've got a tenant who's looking to buy, but they're renting in your area, you can't say, I want to see if you've been a good tenant. They'll say, mind your own business. But what you can say is, you mentioned to me, Chris, that you're renting in this area. I'd love to have a chat with your landlord to see what their plans are. And if I get that in property, I'd like to give you a voucher of some description to say thank you. And again, a lot of my switch on agents are doing that now. They'd rather give a percentage of something to get a new instruction.
And that works?
Absolutely.
So
again,
it's the way you do it, isn't it?
Correct. You still got to do the whole GDPR thing. Yeah, that's key. You've got to remain legal, but absolutely. But you've got to give them something. Most people don't know how to do something for nothing.
No. So let's go. What's the second then?
Second is about gaining ones you've already lost. So I've created a methodology called FAST. It's very simple. So you've been on a valuation and you've lost it to your nearest competitor. Yeah, it's just come on the market. It's been 9 days. What I find most agents do is they phone that vendor back and go, I see it's been on the market now. How's it going? And they go, yeah, it's okay. It's early days. And you go, okay. Are you happy with the agent you chose? And they go, yes, I am. Go, all right, let's keep in touch. The phone call goes down and it's dead.
You're lucky if they get the phone call though, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So
anyway,
what I've created is this FAST methodology that's proven. I've done it now with probably 60 clients, and you get the valuation back again. So you now have another bite of the cherry. And in a nutshell, without giving away all my gems, FAST is feedback. So when you phone, you get feedback on the valuer that they saw. So I've created a pitch of how to make.
So that surely has to be somebody else, really.
Correct. And
I'm a huge believer in that, because they'll never say anything to the.
Most people won't be rude enough to say, I just didn't like you. So it's very easy to go, your fees were too high. It's easy. So it's a cop out. So if you position it of, we just want to be the best and we'd love your honest feedback. You won't offend them, you won't offend me. They get them talking.
Yes.
Then the second part of FAST is the assessment. You assess where they're at. So the pitch I've created is, it's been on the market for 9 days. In agency, well, we call that the honeymoon period, where you will always get the most interest.
Will the valuer, the original valuer, be going back to this one?
It depends on the feedback. If they loved him or her, absolutely. But if they didn't, no, you say, look, from what you've told me, you need to meet X. I think that expert will be a benefit for you.
Good.
So it depends on the feedback.
Okay.
So you assess, and you ask a couple of clever questions, you know. So you talk about the honeymoon period, and you say, so with that in mind, how many offers have you now received? Normally it's 9 days. Normally they haven't in the current market. So you say, well, what's the feedback been? You know, what strategy have they recommended? Normally it's quite negative, and they say, well, look, based on that, and then you tell me yes, the success story. So you have a success story to talk about of a recent let or a recent sale, similar property, similar area, similar price point that's happened since maybe you last met them. And then the T is the close. You get them back in. And I found, so...
What if they're signed up for a 12-week contract with the other agent?
Yes, and that does happen. Sometimes it depends where they signed up. Was it at the agent's branch or was it at their property? Because if so, you can get out of it. And that's why it's very important you do it in the 14-day cooling off period. And the best time to actually call them is Monday morning. Monday morning at 9 a.m, because you can almost guarantee they've not heard from their agent. So you can say, Chris, we've been flat out all weekend on viewings. I'm sure your property has as well. How many offers did you get on the weekend? You've not heard from your agent. We need to talk. So it's in terms of timing. But to be honest with you, it's not just about
So you need to be on the ball, don't you?
Massively.
To make sure that when that 14 days is on.
Massively. But saying that, we're not talking about just short game here. It's long game, it's long wins. So yes, it might have been a contract for 3 months, but I'm going to stay on top of them so that when 3 months are up, if they've not achieved their goal, I'll be the only agent they
How often do you think, let's just say you can't get them in that cooling off period?
Yeah.
How often do you think you should be contacting them?
Well, it depends what your goal is. You don't want to annoy them and you want to give value. So I'll probably say every couple of weeks you stay in the forefront of their minds. But also, rather than just phone say, how's it going, and become a nuisance, give value. They should be looking at some clever videos. They should be sending them, market updates. They should be showing them some success stories. Yes. So you're just tempting them and keeping on the forefront of their mind. So when 3 months is up, say that's the contract length, you're the only one they're thinking about. It's not even up for discussion. They're instructing
You're the one that's given the best value.
Absolutely, and you're staying in touch.
Good stuff.
And
the third?
And the third is canvassing, and that's about, and so many agents have just, in my experience, stopped doing it, but more have stopped doing it properly. And I work with Fine and Country, and they are brilliant at this, some of their consultants. They've got this beautiful Refine magazine, which is beautiful, and that works. But it's about number one, are you doing it? Are you door knocking daily? Because you should be as part of your schedule, but are you doing it, more importantly, effectively? Now, what most people, when they canvass, is they'll see a property on the market with their competition. They should know the stats. They should have been on Rightmove Zoopla to know the stats or on the market. And they knock. And what they normally do is, hi, I see it's on with, X, how's it going? And they go down that route. Whereas what I teach in my training is actually talk about their onward move. So you say, I know you've now been on the market for a while. Just out of curiosity, see if we can help with your next purchase. What's the best you've seen so far? Now they get them talking. And they say,
That's exactly what I recommend.
Yeah.
I call it the frozen pea method.
Okay, why frozen pea?
Well, you start knocking on let's say it's a 12-week contract.
Yeah.
You knock on the door at week 8.
Yeah.
Saying, I've been driving past your house for the last 8 weeks and I'm worried.
Yeah.
And they say, well, why are you worried? Because that really screws up
Yeah,
the
nice. I like that.
And you say, well, you're not on my mailing list, and as I'm sure you're aware, 20% of properties don't go on the market. So,
Yes.
So I don't want your name or number. Tell me what you're looking for, and if I see it, I'll drop
Love
it by.
that. Very
And
nice.
then next week, you won't have got any properties on the market. You still print off the competitors' properties.
Yes.
Knock on the door, saying, I can't stop because I've got frozen stuff in the car,
Yes.
or I'm on the way to a viewing.
Like it. And
again, it's the same. So sorry to jump in.
No, I like that.
But
It's very clever. And one thing that I'd recommend in terms of, it's about territory management. So to use their time effectively, what the top agents do is they make sure they've got a valuation in the area. So when they book the Val, they should be looking at all ones sticking in that space.
Yes.
They're the ones they're door knocking. That's their pipeline. So that they can actually say, so they talk to the vendor about their own move. Then they say, I've seen yours been on for 10 days. They do the honeymoon period pitch. And so with that in mind, how many offers? And they go down that route again.
Yeah.
And then they hopefully have got the success story again. Or they say, the reason I've stopped to chat to you is I'm actually going to Glentree Drive. You might know it down the road. So I'll name one they know. And hopefully it's a similar property to theirs. Because you can say, you know, if buyers miss out on that, there'll be a deal for yours, which also works. So that's another way of getting the onward move, but also hopefully the valuation. So really there, if the agent is doing those three daily and consistently and effectively, they'll get more stock.
Thank you.
Pleasure.